In June of 1764, in the high country of Gévaudan, France, a 14-year-old girl named Jeanne Boulet was buried. The priest's record was brief. Devoured by the fierce beast. Her body was found in pasture, mutilated, her throat torn open. No livestock touched. Then it happened again and again. Children vanished whilst tending cattle. Women were dragged into the trees. Some bodies were never found. But by the time anyone realised what was happening, it was already stalking its next victim. At the end of September, the toll had passed 10. Some victims were found so far from whole, heads missing, limbs scattered, that priests couldn't perform the last rites. One register simply notes, body incomplete. Those who survived described a creature as large as a calf, reddish-brown, with a long tail and a black stripe down its spine. It moved like a wolf, but faster, and killed with precision that terrified even hunters. Some began to whisper, loup-garou. To modern ears it means werewolf. But in 18th century France it meant something far more grounded. A wolf that wasn't behaving like a wolf. A predator that showed intent, cunning, cruelty. Stories spread faster than facts. Every new kill added a new theory about what this could be. This is how mythology begins, out of frustration, out of fear, out of the need to name what refuses to die. In Gévaudan, calling it loup-garou wasn't superstition. It was an uncomfortable admission. Whatever was out there was thinking. Not supernatural, but worse. Something in those hills had learned how to kill with purpose. Nature had gathered all its cunning and aggression into one body, and then set it loose. By the end of the year, over a dozen were dead. Church bells rang not for weddings, but for mourning. Children were kept indoors. Priests changed their tone. The Bishop of Mons declared the beast a divine scourge, calling it a monster drawn from the arsenal of God's wrath. For 3 Sundays, the entire region was ordered into public prayer. Confessions swelled. Fear turned spiritual. And the letters arriving at Versailles grew darker, less like reports, more like warnings. One official wrote to the king,
Le pays est dans l'épouvante. Le peuple demande secours à votre majesté.
The country is in terror. The people beg your majesty for aid. But nothing slowed the attacks. January 1765, 7 children were ambushed near Villeray. One of them, 12-year-old Jacques Portefeuille, fought the beast with a small shepherd's knife and a stick. He rallied the others. They lived. Their story too reached Versailles. King Louis XV sent them gold and promised justice. Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel arrived with 50 dragoons and 100 volunteers. They formed drives, posted sentries, even set out poison. They failed. Once they nearly cornered it in a ravine, but it vanished. Another time Duhamel fired at close range. The beast collapsed, then rose, calm and aware, before slipping into the forest as if the bullet meant nothing. A royal dispatcher sent this report to Versailles.
La bête attaque avec audace, inconnue au loup.
The beast attacks with a boldness unknown to wolves. It was watching them, learning. More bodies followed. By summer, fear had hardened into exhaustion. People fought back. A shepherd with an axe, a farmer with a pike. There were stories of blows that landed, claws deflected, but nothing had drawn blood. August the 11th, 1765. Marie-Jeanne Valet, 20 years old, crossed the river with 6 other girls, carrying laundry. The beast burst from the brush fast, focused. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She drove her spear into its chest. It yelped, bled, and fled. That night, villagers followed the blood trail. They found nothing, except proof it could be wounded. She became a legend. La Pucelle de Gévaudan. September 1765. François Antoine, gun-bearer to the king, took command. Bloodhounds, better rifles, a lifetime of experience. He tracked the beast to the woods near the Abbey of Chaz, and finally got a clean shot. He killed a wolf the size of a man. When the body was brought back, they could finally measure what they'd been hunting. 1.7 meters long. That's almost 6 feet, excluding the tail. 80 centimeters tall and over 60 kilos, more than 130 pounds. Its chest was broad, its jaws unusually wide. Even in death, its proportions felt wrong. It was weighed, measured, stuffed. Survivors examined it. Some said it bore old scars, perhaps from a spear. The body was sent to Versailles. Antoine was hailed a hero. Newspapers shouted, "The beast is dead." One Parisian columnist sneered, "Shall we send the army next, or wait until it grows wings?" For a moment, France believed the nightmare was over. It wasn't. In Gévaudan, 12 more people were buried before winter. But the strangest part wasn't that the killings continued. It's how they changed. The attacks weren't frantic anymore. They were precise. Victims were taken closer to villages, closer to farms, closer to doors. Hunters wrote that the beast only began appearing when men looked away, as if it had learnt their routines, their habits, their weaknesses. The beast did not vanish, it changed. The attacks grew rarer, but bolder. Spring 1767, the killings had slowed, but not stopped. Jean Chastel, a farmer with a reputation that made his neighbours uneasy, joined a hunt on Montmouchet. He carried a gun and a book of prayers. Accounts vary. Some say he waited, that the beast stared him down and didn't move. But he fired once. The beast took a single step forward as if nothing had happened. Then its fur darkened with blood, and it collapsed. It was over. The autopsy described it as like a wolf, but extraordinary, different in its proportions. But unlike Antoine's wolf, no measurements survive. The corpse decayed on the journey to Paris, abandoned or buried in secret. 3 years of deaths, dozens maimed, and every surviving document agrees on a single point. Gévaudan wasn't facing coincidence, it was facing consistency. Over 100 people died, at least 30 maimed, and some still whisper of the loup-garou. But not all monsters are myths. Some wear real fur, have real teeth, and they don't stop until we bury them. Today, in the village of Offered, near the slopes where the beast was slain, There's a statue, a young woman, alone, holding a spear, facing something leaping towards her. She's not a soldier, not a noble, not a huntsman of the court. She's a laundress, Marie-Jeanne Valet. She didn't kill the beast, but for the first time, her courage made it bleed. It wasn't a devil, just something that had learned too much about killing. But 125 years earlier, and nearly 300 miles from here, a priest was burned alive after a contract signed by 6 demons was found beneath his altar, signed in his own blood. This is the Gévaudan contract. That record is waiting for you in the archive. I'm Nico, and I'll meet you in the next case.